How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to JC's Learning Edge for another Friday deep dive. I'm so happy that you're here, and I really hope that you took my advice and invited a friend who's struggling with burnout because this session can truly help them. Now, on Wednesday, we talked about burnout, and I said something that probably surprised a few of you that burnout isn't a weakness, it's truly just a signal. You see, it's your body and your mind telling you that something is out of balance. So today we're going to dive a little deeper into that topic, and I'm going to give you three keys. Number 1, how to spot burnout before it takes you out. Number 2, how to recover when you're already in it. And number 3, how to prevent it from creeping back in. So if you've ever felt like you're running on empty, or you've had those seasons where you're grinding but you just don't feel like yourself, trust me, this session is for you. And like the video, share it. I'm telling you, this session is going to be powerful today. Let's get right into it. My first point is how to spot burnout. You see, that's the first step. It's spotting burnout early. You see, too many people ignore the signs until they hit a wall. But burnout isn't always just a immediate thing. Burnout sends warning shots first. It may look like, constant fatigue. Even after you sleep, you may find yourself dragging through the day, relying on caffeine just to feel normal. Maybe your motivation disappears. The things that used to excite you now feel like a burden. I've been there. Another big sign is detachment. You might notice yourself pulling back from people or feeling numb about things you used to care about. Even small tasks start to feel overwhelming to you, and you start to catch yourself saying, I just don't have it in me today. And let's not forget the physical side of it. It can be headaches, tension, stomach issues. You see, stress does not just live in your mind. I feel like that's a misconception some people have. It doesn't just live in your mind, it shows up in your body. That's why it's important that you find ways for you that helps you relieve stress. But before I get into all that, the key I'm trying to get you to understand is that burnout doesn't happen overnight. It builds little by little. You see, when you're pouring out without recharging, I want you to I want you to think of it like a phone battery. A phone battery, it doesn't die instantly. It drains slowly until one day it shuts off. But if you're paying attention to the low battery signals, you can plug in right before it's too late. And now that leads me to my second point, how to recover from burnout. You see, if you're already burnt out, the answer is not to keep grinding, even harder. That's like driving a car on empty and hoping that momentum will carry you. We all know what's going to happen. You ain't going nowhere actually. I won't even say very far. You ain't going nowhere. And you see, recovery is about three things. Number 1 is rest, number 2 is realignment, and number 3 is release. But let's deal with rest first. You see, I'm not just talking about sleep, though that's very important. Rest also could mean stepping away mentally and emotionally from the pressure you've been under. It might mean taking a day off of social media or shutting down work emails after a certain hour. Remember, rest is intentional. Now, second, let's talk about this realignment. I want you to ask myself, I want you to ask yourself, what am I actually working towards? You see, sometimes burnout comes from running hard in the wrong direction, but realignment is about making sure your energy is going towards something meaningful and purposeful to you. So when what you're doing connects to your purpose, the load starts to feel a little lighter, even though you're working just as hard. And then third, let's talk about release. Part of recovery is learning to let go. Let go of tasks that aren't truly necessary. Let go of people pleasing and overcommitting. I told y'all already, this is something I've had to go through and deal with. And just remember, every time you release something that drains you, you make space for something that fills you up. I'm gonna say that again. Every time you release something that drains you, you make space for something that fills you. And let's be real for a minute. Recovery is not instant, just like burnout isn't instant. You know, it'll take time to recharge. But here's the good news. Even small adjustments start to bring relief. Go for a walk, call a friend, pick up a hobby that reminds you of who you are outside of work and responsibility. Those little steps help rebuild your energy one brick at a time. As I said in past lives, that's work on the micro adjustments. That's not do overhauls because those aren't sustainable. And that leads me to my third point: how to prevent burnout. The best the best way to deal with burnout is to keep it from happening. That's why we're talking about preventing. And prevention is about building systems and habits that protect your energy long term. And you see, one of the biggest ones is pacing. Life is not a sprint, it's a marathon. So if you try to go, all out every single day, you'll crash. High performers understand the value of rhythm. Work hard, then recharge. Just like athletes training cycles, you got to build cycles of effort and rest into your own life. And just to use an example, the late great Kobe Bryant, he had mama mentality about being better every single day, working extremely hard. And I agree with it to a certain extent, because I feel like some people are taking that and trying to say, no matter how I feel, as far as even when you're burnt out, even when you're running on E, I'm going to keep going. That's how you run yourself into the ground. And even if you look at Kobe's career towards the tail end, he almost kind of broke his body when it came to practice, to where his body started to break down on him later in his career. And even his trainer said the difference between Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan is that Kobe Bryant worked harder, which kind of messed his body up, to where his trainer had to tell him, you need to take a break. Where Michael Jordan worked smarter. So his body didn't break down on him as he was, winning his championships. And I'm not saying Kobe's not great. I'm just saying you have to ensure that you get the proper rest. Now, another key is alignment. You see, burnout doesn't just come from doing too much. It often comes from doing the wrong things. So if your daily grind doesn't connect to your values or your bigger picture, no amount of discipline will save you. I'm gonna say that again. If your daily grind doesn't connect to your values or your bigger picture, your bigger goal, no amount of discipline will save you. So take time to regularly check in. Is what I'm doing, ask yourself, is what I'm doing moving me toward the life I actually want? If the answer is no, no wonder why you're drained. And finally, prevention requires boundaries. We've talked about boundaries. Saying yes to everything is a guaranteed road to burnout. So protect your time, protect your focus, and protect your energy. They're valuable. They're more valuable than money. You see, and that might mean scheduling breaks, creating no work zones in your day, or limiting how much access people have to you. But remember this: if you don't remember anything else, boundaries aren't selfish, they're needed for survival. I'm going to say that again: boundaries aren't selfish, they're needed for survival. And if this is hitting home for you and you know you need better systems to, help manage your time, your focus, and your energy, I dive deeper into strategies like these in my book, Graduating Half the Time: The Secrets of Self-Paced Learning. Now, even though it's written, at first with students in mind, the principles apply to anyone chasing a big goal. You see, it's about working smarter, staying motivated, and avoiding burnout so you can actually finish what you start. You can grab your copy today on Amazon. The link is in my description, my bio, or just look it up on Amazon and get your copy today. So here's the recap: burnout is a signal, not a weakness. We talked about that. You've got to learn how to spot the warning signs, and then how to recover when you're already in it. And then you have to learn how to prevent it with better systems and boundaries. If you apply these three keys, burnout won't control your story. You'll control you'll control your energy and your success. I'm going to say that again. If you apply these three key strategies, burnout won't control your story. You'll control your energy and your success. And that being said, I thank y'all so much for being with me today. And if this message spoke to you, do me a favor, share it with a friend. You never know who's silently battling burnout and needs this encouragement. And remember, success doesn't shout. Y'all should know about now. It shows up. And that being said, I'll see you next week. Remember, apply these strategies. Don't just listen to what I'm telling you. Apply what I'm telling you, and you'll see results. Bye bye.